Hammer River Angling Association. My name is Melissa and I'm here with Josh, Sarah, and Isabella. We have a little video here for you guys on fly tying. I hope you guys enjoy it.
All right, welcome everyone to the introduction on how to tie a fly. Today we are going to learn how to tie the woolly bugger. So what you will need on your desk is the vise securely attached to your desk. You will need your hook. You will need your tying thread, a pair of scissors, a piece of red wool, a piece of black chenille, and a brown hackle. So once you have your vise securely attached to your desk, just give it a little shake, make sure it is not going to be pulled off while you are tying. Next, we are going to pick up the hook. We're going to open up the mouth of the vise, insert your hook, and then clamp it down onto the vise. And you want your hook to be horizontal, just like this. If it is facing up like that, your material will all bunch towards the bottom. If it is down like this, your material is all going to fall off. So make sure that it is in there securely and horizontal. So that's in there secure, vise is secure, so we are ready to start. Next, you're going to get your tying thread. We are going to hold the tying thread perpendicular to the hook, like this. You're going to start by doing a turn around, and one more. Then we're going to start working our way down the hook shank, like that. Then crisscross back up towards the eye of the hook, then back down the hook shank, and then back up. Now when you let go, it shouldn't all fall apart. So with this extra thread right here, I'm going to get my scissors, and I'm going to make a clip just like that to take off the excess. Then I'm going to pinch that little piece up so it's on the hook shank, and I'm just going to take turns around the hook, working my way over that little loose piece, tying it in. Now as we get closer to the hook point here, just be very careful that you don't have too much tying thread out. We're going to work our way all the way down to right here. I'm just going to very carefully let it rest. Make sure when you let it go that it's not swinging back and forth, because it'll get cut and it'll all fall off from there. So next we are going to put on the tail. So you're going to need your piece of red wool. I am going to set this on top of the hook shank, just like that. Then I'm going to pick up my tying thread, and I'm going to start taking wraps, going back up towards the eye of the hook, just like this. Then back down, get about midway, come back up, just nice crisscross patterns, making sure it's on there really secure. Now work all the way back down, right where the bend of the hook starts. So I'm just going to release that very gently. So far our tail is attached, but it's really long. So we're going to get our scissors. I'm going to give it a cut right about here. We can just fuzz it out a little bit and make it look a little more like a fluffy tail. There we go. So your tail is properly attached. The next step is to pick up your hackle feather. Now to get this ready, we're going to pinch it at the tip of the feather here, and then I am going to very gently just fan out the fibers a little bit, just like that. So they're more spread apart like that. Still pinching the tip of the hackle feather, I am going to put that on top of the hook. So you can kind of see where the hackle feather is going to lay on top of the hook. Then we are going to pick up our tying thread again, and again taking wraps around, moving back towards the eye of the hook. Come back down halfway, then crisscross going back up, making sure it's securely on there, then moving all the way back right to where we tied on the tail. Then I'm going to let it go. So our hackle feather is now tied on there. We have to be really gentle with these. They break really easy, so don't pull too tight on that. And I'm just going to move it kind of off to the side a little bit like that. So the next part is tying on the body of the fly. For that, we're going to use the black chenille. And again, we're going to take our material, set it on top of the hook shank, just like that, so it is ready to tie on. Pick up the tying thread, taking wraps back up towards the eye of the hook, then back down halfway, making nice crisscross patterns. Work back up a little bit, and then work all the way back down to where we've tied in our tail and our hackle. And I'm just going to let that release. So now all three parts of our fly have been attached to the hook. So now what we're going to do, again very carefully, take your tying thread, bring it all the way up to the eye. We're just going to let that sit there. We need to keep our tying thread out of the way for right now. Now the next step, we are going to take our black chenille for the body. We are going to start wrapping it around the hook, being very careful to avoid that point. We don't want it to fall off. So I'm making nice close turns around and around, passing from one hand to the other, and I'm always keeping tension as I am switching hands. It's never going loose. So once we get up to the eye of the hook, I'm going to hold it up in one hand. With my other hand, I'm going to take the tying thread and go behind, let it drop very gently, behind, let it drop, behind, let it drop. Then while maintaining tension on this part, I am going to switch hands that I am going to take with my other hand and do a few wraps in front. Then I am going to pass it again, keeping tension on this part, pass, and another couple turns here. That will just make sure that our body is tied on nice and securely. So we still have a bunch of excess here. We let go, our body should be holding in place, but we don't want all this. So I'm going to take my scissors, I'm going to cut, and then with this little piece that's still sticking up right here, I'm just going to kind of push it down and secure it with just a few wraps. So right now, our body is nicely on the hook. Now the next part, we are going to wrap our hackle. And again, we have to be gentle with the feather. They break really easily. So I'm just going to pass it around and around. And as we're going around, you'll start to see those feather fibers opening up, just like that, working towards the eye of the hook. Always keeping tension on the feather without pulling too tight. And again, I'm going to finish upright like this, keeping tension here without pulling too hard. Pick up the tying thread and around, let it hang. Around, let it hang. Around, let it hang. Then I'm going to change hands and I'm going to take a couple wraps in front. Switch again, maintaining tension, around and around. So our hackle is now on there securely. But again, we don't want all this excess. So I'm going to take my scissors. I'm going to carefully trim off that spiky point. Again, I'm just going to push everything back a little bit so you can see the eye right there. And I'm going to just secure it in place with a couple more wraps, just like that. So now we have our tail, our body, and our hackle. Now we need to finish this fly with a finishing knot. So what we're going to do, we are going to make a loop like this. You're going to put this loop in, oops, let's try that again. Make a loop, put that loop behind the eye of the fly, hold it in place with one finger, and then cinch it up just like that. So we make a loop, see the loop, move the loop in behind the eye of the hook, holding it in place with the finger in behind, and slowly just cinch it up just like that. And we want to do this 4 or 5 times. So we're going to make another loop, move the loop behind the eye of the hook, and then just let it cinch up. And I'll do this one more time. A loop behind the eye and cinching it up. And then we can get our scissors cut. And there you have it. You have tied a woolly bugger.